Hello, and welcome back to the channel. As you can see here, I start another Jersey Quest franchise mode. This is kind of another, unlike a lot of the ones we did recently, a second attempt at one we failed previously. So I'm going to try and keep the intro brief, but yes, we're back here in NHL 19 with the Detroit Red Wings again. So if you remember from last time, turn that off, there he is. The Jersey Quest player is Thomas Vanek, ex-Islander for like half a season. Would have been more if he hadn't moved moved from the Coliseum to Barclays, but whatever. Yeah, so he played his 1,000th game in his final season, which was the 18-19 season, which is this one, for the Red Wings in January against Nashville that year. I'm pretty sure, right? Yeah. Yep, it was January 4th in a 4-3 overtime win against the Predators, where he scored a goal in that game as well. So obviously the Red Wings don't really do third jersey, so the jersey is obviously the kind of classic Red Wings home jersey, the Adidas version obviously, because it's from the 18-19 season. And yeah, so I guess again, like these last couple ones we've been kind of repeating ones you failed on before. Kind of going to do the same thing where I basically just like looking at this roster, not great. Basically going to kind of try and go all in on this one season because he's going to probably retire at the end. So like just basically try and stack. Not really stack. I don't not as I haven't really done like create like all-star roster. Basically, just like make a like reasonable roster of like two like or players like are actually like of the quality of the line they're playing on and stuff. Which we're gonna have to do a decent amount of work here on the forwards. I think the defensemen, not so much. I think maybe just like one or two, probably two guys for like a top pair, and then these four guys are fine. But I think goalies, we have Jimmy Howard and Bernier, which that's like a decent enough rotation. But yeah, so I don't know. There's very much else to say here. So I'm trying to keep it brief. So yeah, Thomas Vanek, the Jersey Quest player, Red Wings home jersey from his 1,000th game, and we're gonna try and do the same thing where we basically like go all in on this one season, and it has been working out. So hopefully it continues to work out. But yeah, I don't think there's really much else to touch on because this is a repeat one and kind of hit all the main points here. So I'll stop talking for now. And in a couple seconds will be the 2018-19 season recap, where hopefully this strategy you've been implementing continues to work, and we win the Stanley Cup in this one season. Okay, so here we are at the end of the 2018-19 season, and as you can see, this formula continues to find success for us as we've won the Stanley Cup here in year one, preempting Thomas Vanek's probably eventual retirement, so another successful Jersey Quest franchise mode here. So I guess let's quickly go through how we got here. So looking at the regular season, so as you can see here, we finished with a 45, 30, and 7 record, which got us a points total of 97, which was one behind Toronto for third in the Atlantic, but it was good enough to get us the first wildcard spot by a solid 10 points over Florida. So successful regular season. I think that's like 20-something points better than they actually got that year. Yeah, they finished with 74, so like 23 points better haul, which is good. Interesting, like see goals for per game 2.62, goals against 2.7. So despite that, like being like ratio being in the negative, we somehow were able to have a winning record to make the playoffs. In terms of player scoring, as you can see here, one of the players we've gotten my numerous trades to kind of make this roster good enough for like a one-season cup push. Jake DeBrusk was our leading scorer, 22 goals, 45 assists, 67 points. So I'll kind of scroll through the roster and point out who we traded for. And then obviously stop off at Thomas Vanek as well. So yes, we got Jake DeBrusk to be second line left wing. Gabe Landeskog first line left wing. Jake Ensel first line center. Marchessault first line right wing. Ryan Pulock second pair right defense. There's Thomas Vanek. So yeah, 14 goals, 11 assists, 25 points. It's pretty solid on the third line. Josh Anderson, third line right wing. And then the only other two acquisitions were like I got traded for like Kyle Connaughton Wagner to be like our 7th defenseman, 13th forward. And goalies, Jimmy Howard had a pretty good season, 919 save percentage, 2.42 goals against. And Bernier was a cromulent backup. In terms of the playoffs, let's look at the tree here. So yeah, so we were the first wild card. I got matched up against Tampa Bay, who finished with 105 points in the regular season in our division, and then obviously won it. So we won the series 4-1. We won the first 3 games 4-3, 2-1, and 3-1. They won game 4, 1-0, and then we stomped them out in game 5, 6-3. Round 2, we got matched up against the Maple Leafs, who were third in the Atlantic East with 98 points. So as we were like finished one behind them, but we were able to take out the Brooms and sweep them aside with 2-1, 6-1, 6-2, and 3-2 wins. And in the conference finals, we got the Florida Panthers. So it was like an all-Atlantic division affair because the Panthers, who finished with 87 points, as you can see here, made it through the Metropolitan Division section, which had Pittsburgh, who was the President's Trophy winners, with 127 points. So they beat them in the first round, which is like absolutely nuts. And then they beat the Flyers, who were third with 94. And they got matched up against us, but we were too strong for them. We kind of, actually, no, not the same as for round ones, because we won game 1, 4-1, game 2, 3-2. They won then game 3, 6-3. And then we won the next 2, 2-1, and 5-0 to make it to the Stanley Cup final against the obviously actual 2019 Stanley Cup champion St. Louis Blues, who were the first wild card in the West with 96 points. And this basically was our most difficult series, went all the way to 7. They won game 1, 4-3. We then won the next 2, 6-2 and 3-1. They then tied the series in game 4 with a 2-1 win. We took a crucial win at home in game 5, 3-1, to be 1 win away from the Cup. Couldn't get it done in St. Louis in game 6. They won that one 4-2. But then game 7, we shut them out 3-0 to clinch the Stanley Cup on home ice, which is good because I was like, obviously the jersey was the home jersey, so it was nice and convenient. We got it done on home ice, so it doesn't like look weird or anything in the footage. So solid stuff. In terms of playoff scoring, leading scorer was Jonathan Marchessault, 5 goals, 16 assists, 21 points, so a point per game. And then Thomas Vanek had a solid playoff, 7 goals, 7 assists, 14 points. And goalie Jimmy Howard played every minute pretty much, with all 16 wins, 2 shutouts, which were the clinching games in the conference finals and the Stanley Cup finals. So if you're going to get 2 shutouts in a playoff, probably the 2 best games to do it in. With a 941 save percentage and a 1.81 goals against, which is like absolutely bananas. Which, as you can see you'll see at the footage, he ended up winning the Conn Smythe, and quite deservedly so with those numbers. So last thing to look at is awards and stuff, but I think at that advanced day here, quick to get them to change over. There we go. So if we go in here now and go to awards, so as you see, obviously we won the Cup. As I said, President's Trophy was the Penguins, the 127 points, and then we beat the Blues in the Cup final. So individual awards, no 100-point scorers and only 8 point per game guys. So Alex Ovechkin won the Art Ross with 99 points. So it's yes, we were like 1 point away from having a 100-point score, but scoring not really that high in this franchise mode. So then obviously he's going to win the Hart with that kind of point total. So I'm just like updating my spreadsheet as we go along here. Norris went to Victor Hedman of the Lightning. Not really a surprise there. They were top of the Atlantic Division, so he probably had a nice points total and a good plus minus and all that. Lady Bing went to Evgeny Kuznetsov, who is one of the only 390 points players to hit 90 points with 92, and he was tied for second in the league with that total. Calder went to, that's a surprise, Colin White of the Senators. I don't know actually who won the Calder that year, I forget, but yeah. Conn Smythe, as I said, went to Jimmy Howard, which is not really a surprise because his stats were absolutely unreal. 941 save percentage is like absolutely bananas. Then the Vezina went to, that's funny, Matt Murray of the Pittsburgh Penguins. But I guess that's not really a surprise because he had like probably way more wins than everyone else, considering Pittsburgh had 127 points. Yeah, and then also then not a surprise, also won the Jennings for least goals against, probably because they gave up the fewest goals in order to get that many points. Mastery, which is like a nothing trophy in these games because it's like they can't really quantify that what it's supposed to stand for. Selke went to Ryan Getzlaff, which that's not really a surprise, I think. Actually, I don't know, did he actually ever win one? I don't think so, but not really a surprise there. Then Lindsay went to Ovi, not unsurprisingly as well. And then Rocket Richard gets Ovechkin. Yeah, okay. So Ovi won geez, I don't even know how many of the awards. But I guess this is another success for this method, so I'm going to keep using it pretty much until it stops working, but it seems to work very nicely. So, yeah, another successful Jurassic Quest franchise mode. What should be coming up next is, as I said, we just finished Mass Effect 1. We should be continuing our Shepard story in Mass Effect 2, so hopefully you enjoyed this. So you'll check that Mass Effect 2 Let's Play out as well. Thank you.
And the game is over. The series is over. Detroit's won the Stanley Cup. Do you believe the celebration going on? This is the ultimate dream, and they've realized it here, but the losers, some of these guys may never get another chance to go after the Stanley Cup.
This has long been a tradition, of course, in hockey where sportsmanship replaces the competition that has just been completed. You shake hands, and I'll tell you from experience, it's better to be on the winning side of that handshake than on the losing side.
The playoff MVP gets the Conn Smythe Trophy, and here is the winner.
I'm always interested in the way the player reacts to getting this trophy. It's almost like they want to get out of there so they can celebrate the Stanley Cup. You've been selected as the best player in the playoffs, but really all you can think about is that your team is champions.
It's often said it's the hardest prize to win because it takes 8 weeks. And by tradition, the captain is the first to hold it high.
I can guarantee you that picture right there with the cup up over his head will be displayed prominently in his home. One moment he can be proud of and will cherish forever. There's always interest in how the Stanley Cup has passed player to player, and they take their victory lap with it. Players are injured and banged up, yet it doesn't seem to matter how much that 30-pound trophy really weighs. Doug Weight actually got it over his head once with a dislocated shoulder.
And the final event of any Stanley Cup celebration. What we see on the ice last is everyone gathered together for a very happy Stanley Cup team.